us on Twitter because Gary has a big following and Gary has retweeted us, of course. So they are saying rock on Gary, and many people are switching to the Ustream LeWeb feed. I think we had 1,500 when I checked people watching right now, and a lot of you in the room as well, even though it's getting late here. And so, without further ado, Gary, can you join me on stage? Gary V, help me welcome Gary V. So Gary, you yelled at me last year.
Can I first say hello to the crowd?
No.
What up, Paris? Scoble. You're in Paris too. Just before we start, did anybody else enjoy the negotiations between Loic and Gary right now? I think BT is killing you on bandwidth prices. I know he said no.
I shouldn't.
Are you paying the full 100% or only what you use?
I should make this clear. We're not paying BT. This is just the line and the bandwidth.
Oh, so you're ripping them off?
I'm ripping them. No, there is a partnership with BT coordinating everything, and it would cost much more than what I said. Yeah. It's awesome. Just for line, just for pipe. That's what I was saying. Thank you, Gary, for saying that. So you yelled at me last year, badly. I still remember because we have even put that into the intro video, the demo video of LeWeb, where we say that, where you say that we're not a community because we don't take any questions. So this year we took more questions, even though it's challenging.
Did you guys like the more questions this year? Yes or no? Yeah? Not enough.
It's challenging
maybe you should take the questions away.
You know what? Many people like the fact that it's very fast-paced and 20 minutes, even 5 minutes, really fast. Like it doesn't. That's how I like it. You know, it doesn't. If it gets boring, at least it's only 20 minutes. Yeah. And so it's super fast. And then if you take questions, it's really challenging. But anyway, we have only questions for you. I should just shut up and give me an update first.
Yeah. Maybe I'm doing tremendous. Thank you. I mean, well, I'm not doing that tremendous. I don't know how many of you follow American football, but I am easily one of the biggest New York Jets fans in the world.
And
that is actually why I'm even here or what I do for a living. My goal is to buy the New York Jets, and the New York Jets, how do I say this properly, got their faces punched in pretty bad on Monday night. We lost 45-3 to the New England Patriots, so it was kind of nice. Fuck that guy. I'm watching you. I'm trying to make you out. I can see you. Anyway, so I was happy to get out of America so I didn't have to deal with the bullshit. But so I'm a little bit upset about that, but things are good. I have an amazing 18-month-old daughter named Misha, who is my heart and soul, so that's good. Family's awesome. And business-wise, things are going extremely well. I started a company last year with my brother AJ. Vaynermedia. We're doing extremely well. We're doing strategy and community management for a lot of brands like PepsiCo.
Full service.
Full service. You know, really trying. You know, it's funny. I'm almost in a place where I'm a mix between the last two people that were on stage. Jeremiah talking a lot about corporate, Howard talking a lot about entrepreneur. I pretty much got the entrepreneur sensibility down. You know, I've been selling. You know, my first business when I was 5 years old was I went to people's yards, ripped out their flowers, ringed their doorbell, and tried to sell it back to them. So I have entrepreneur, thank you. Best business, low overhead, you didn't sit on inventory very long, tremendous profit margin. So I highly recommend it. But, you know, so I knew that. You know, I built a small family liquor store to a $60 million a year business. I understand the entrepreneur play. I've done it very much as a personal brand, using the tools that we all talk about.
You know, personal brand is really has a bad reputation. In Europe, you don't say you're building a personal brand.
Yeah, no, I understand. And it doesn't have the greatest reputation in the US either. I mean, you know, there's no denying that Oprah is a personal brand. You want to say it's not, or you do, you want to come up with a new term. I mean, for example, I hate the term social media. I loved Web 2.0. I think social media has fucked everything up. I think when big companies look at the word media, they think it's time for them to talk again. So very much like my thesis was last year when we were here that we needed to do more Q&A, it's the same thing of how I look at social media. I think the word media has completely confused the market. In my opinion, this whole social media world, the things we all talk about, the Facebook, the Twitters, the Tumblrs, the Seismics, the YouTubes, whatever it is, it's about listening. To me, the way I look at Twitter and Facebook and all these other platforms is they're the good cop to all the bad cop stuff that we all do. Whether it's buying ads, speaking a whole lot, promoting our shit, the way I really look at a Facebook fan page or a Twitter account for a brand and for myself is that needs to be the place where you're a good cop. That's where you need to be a friend that listens. And I think the word media has always been about push, right? Radio, television, newspaper. That's pushing, forcing, I did that for effect, forcing your message on the consumer, pounding that until submission. You're a genius if you buy a Super Bowl ad or buy a shitload of billboards because you're pounding your product and logo and message down the consumer's mouth. To me, the place to offset that maneuver is social. It's a place for you to actually have a pulse. I think we're living through the humanization of business. It blows my mind that the people in this room are willing to have communication and relationships with logos, whether it's Nike or Apple or whatever it may be. The fact that you're willing to talk sports to Nike, or the fact that you're willing to talk about hip hop with brisk iced tea, and you mean it in a human element, it's very interesting to me. I kind of look at it similar to the way people treat pets, right? Pets are not human beings, but we have very human-like interaction. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I know people that treat pets better than they treat human beings. And I think that there's something very similar happening with business, and that's kind of what I'm obsessed with right now.
Are you going to keep lecturing us, or actually take questions?
You get to flip the switch? I'm ready. I'm ready. Any questions about anything, let's go.
It's fine, no problem.
No, I just wanted to warm it up a little bit.
It's just that you said I want
questions.
only questions, and you keep talking.
You're 100% correct. I apologize.
Well,
I am ready for questions.
That's what I should have said. So who has a question? I'll take my Mac. So this is your stage. You have two wonderful hostesses
Well, don't
here.
leave.
No, but I need my Mac to just get questions from the internet.
I see. So you
because
go ahead.
Otherwise I get yelled at
Hurry.
as well. So, first question in the room maybe. Okay, here we go. And if you want, you can come and you would help our hostesses because you're far away here if you have a question, or you can just raise your hand.
Gary, we've heard of the...
What's your name?
My name's Jonathan. I'm from Amsterdam.
It's good to see you again. How are you?
I have a question to you.
And great scarf.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We've heard of the Tea Party.
The Tea Party.
Have you any plans to go into politics with the Wine Party?
Yeah. Thank you. So, what's funny, Jonathan, is that I truly believe that I was built to be a politician in a lot of ways, right? I have that kind of DNA. My problem is that I was born in Belarus. And in the United States, you can't become president unless you're born in the United States. And for me, to play a game where I can't be the ultimate winner makes absolutely no sense. So I find I don't see myself going into politics for that reason. I don't want to be like, awesome, I can be vice president one day. Fuck that. Thank you. Let's go. Raise them. Who's got questions? There we go. Nice.
Hello Gary, I'm Laurent.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Sorry I couldn't do that interview before. I had to run here fucking a week, All right.
Thank you, Gary. What is your real feeling about the fact that e-commerce website could use social shopping features to make more business? Do you think it's real? Do you experience some real business with social platforms?
So help me here. Are you saying, do I think that some of the social add-ons on an e-commerce site can...
Not the fact that people could act with other customers and that it could be a leverage for e-commerce.
Got it. So I have a website called CinderellaWine.com, right? Cinderella, midnight, anyway, wine.com. I launched the wine at midnight, then we moved it to 9 p.m. Don't worry, I fucked it up. Anyway, in there, consumers communicate with each other. And very much like Groupon and Guilt Group and all these deal of the day phenomenons, we have a site that does that for our wine business. Now what happens when and unlike every other wine deal of the day site, we have a forum where people talk. And when you open up the case to discussion, they start talking about your competitors, why they're mad at you. It's amazing what happens when you can hide on the internet and not use true identity, right? It's why I'm so bullish on Facebook Connect and Real Identity, because when you don't have real identity and you're just a username like Wino69, it's amazing what you're willing to say. It's the same reason I believe chat roulette didn't work. Chat roulette didn't work because there was an enormous amount of penis in chat roulette, right? I believe that chat roulette could have won if they would have used Facebook Connect. I have very strong beliefs that if it was really you and your profile, you would keep your pants on. So I think it's very fast. It's one of the reasons I'm down on YouTube, to be honest with you. In general, I think YouTube could be a much better place if there was real identity in the comments, because the comments always get lowest common denominator in a place where you can hide behind a bullshit identity. I think that there's enormous value in real people talking about your competitors. I have no problem, we open, they talk about our competitors all the time. This is not as good a deal as this site right now. Does it hurt maybe that exact deal? Absolutely. But when you become the community, the residual commerce effect is substantial. The problem is that most businesses do not have the thick enough skin, the DNA, to actually go there, because it's difficult to watch people insult your products, and what scares people even more, set them to your competitors. My belief is it's valuable though, because once you become the community, much like Woot, right? Woot, which is a site that inspired me very much 5 years ago, I don't know if you guys are familiar, was recently bought by Amazon. They have an open community, and those Wooters look at each other, they come back there daily, not necessarily for the deal. At the end of the day, what I think is very much missing from our space, and if you're right now tweeting or looking at a YouTube video like it seems like everybody's doing, just promise me you'll put your head up for 4/100th of a second, because it's the only thing that I really want to say. I firmly believe that this industry thinks way too much about scaling. Everything's always like, how do you scale? How do you scale? I got asked right before I got on stage right now, Gary, how do you respond to everything? I think we are grossly underestimating the human aspects of digital business. I really think that when you start layering human elements on top of, I think I'm more scalable than ever. You know, how do I do it? I fucking try. You know, effort is massively underrated, and I think brands and businesses, so if you have a startup or you're part of a bigger company where you can hide behind a logo, where you're not a person like me, because no assistant is ever going to tweet or communicate on my behalf, but if you're a logo, you can find 30, 40, 100, 500 passionate people to become the voice of your brand, and you can engage with every person that talks about your brand. And I believe the value of that context is very important. Jonathan, when you asked me that question, I remember you interviewing me 2 years ago at LeWeb. When I see your face, I already feel something different for you. We've only spent 15 minutes together and a couple of tweets online, but I feel totally different about you than I do about these guys, because I don't know them as well yet. But now, just by saying these guys, I already feel something different to them. And I truly believe that we are underestimating context. This space is always fascinated and obsessed with content is king, and I think we massively underestimate the context, especially when there's human DNA behind it. I think that is the battleground. I think the humanization of a brand is immensely important, and my new book that I wrote and spent a lot of time actually researching, not just by going on gut, called The Thank You Economy, talks about what starts happening to a business when they truly care. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. What does not happen at this conference enough is talking about the end user. And the end user is the game. And we think about how to trick them to see more impressions. And we think about how to get them to understand, but we don't talk enough about how to actually listen to them and really do what the fuck they want. Awesome, the hands are coming, let's go. There's a lot of hands up. Are you guys willing to move around? Thanks, man.
Hi, I'm Giles from Brand Watch.
How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. I'm loving your energy.
Thanks, man.
So, you talk about the humanization of businesses. There's a tension there, in my opinion, because if you're trying to interact with a business and think of it like in a human way, it has to have a personality. So you think about Apple, it has kind of a personality, but it's made up of thousands of individuals who have a whole host of other personalities. So you've got this kind of, you know, how do you square that up?
I think you do it through training and you do it through hiring. You know, it's very easy for me, you know, wine library, you know, I'm no longer there day to day, but I want people walking into that store to feel like we pick them up the second they walk in, carry them to the wine they want, grab the wine, take them to the register, don't charge them, take them to their car, kiss them and send them home. That's how I want them to feel, right?
Now, aren't you going to kind of, do you want to kind of, when you say training, you're implying that you want everybody to pick up the corporate message, which is not great for most people. I don't want to be Mr. Apple. I want to be me working for whoever. Do you know what I mean?
And you're more than welcome to go out and do whatever the fuck you want to do, right? But if you're going to work for my company, you need to have the ability to talk about what I want to talk about. Now, I think the process begins in the hiring process.
And how would you feel if someone said that to you?
Tremendous, because I would never work for anybody, and if nobody wants to, I can't even comprehend that.
There's the tension.
There is the tension, but here's what's interesting. I think
told.
on that tension point, you got to really look at the community. And I think you're right. And nothing for nothing, I have struggled to hire a lot of people because I looked them dead in the face. I just let go of a designer at VaynerMedia, and I was letting him go, and he said, "You were right," as we were talking. And I told him when I was hiring him that he shouldn't work for me because I could taste in my mouth that he's too entrepreneurial and too much of himself, and he's too strong-willed and wants to do his own shit. And I said, "You're going to be better off doing it yourself. So if you want to come on board, I'm not really in the business to have you come on board for a year, build it up, send you on your way, and whatever, but I'll do it because I like your style, and that's what's going to happen." And that's what happened. However, there's a really interesting thing going on, which is that there are a lot more people, especially in America, and that's what I can obviously talk to better culturally than other places in the world, but I very much see the younger generation right now much more obsessed with the work-life balance in their lives. And I just wonder, if I didn't have that one piece of DNA that was so entrepreneurial and competitive, how happy I would be working 50 hours a week for the New York Jets, talking to everybody, working my easy 9 to 5, or for what you will call it, candy bars, which I'm obsessed, best candy bar in the world, or, many, 3 or 4 other brands that I think I'm passionate about. What an awesome job that would be to work for 40 hours a week, 9 to 5, get out, leave, no extra pressure, and every day walking into a business that I truly believe in and am passionate about, and get to interact on its behalf with its consumers. So I think the reason you're asking that question and bringing up that attention is probably your own DNA could never go there. I couldn't either. But we'd be very remiss to not recognize the social trends of people wanting their weekends off, not wanting to work 87 hours a day, and those people, I think, have become extremely happy. These are almost better PR, customer service jobs. It's just like, Loic?
Yeah, no, I'm here.
You're scaring me. These are almost better jobs of that. So I think there is a case of those kind of people being out there. But your point is well taken. I think companies have to be aware of people that may not like that after 6 months,
So we can, I have a question set up, tag for you.